Hello everyone, in this video I will explain the updated Luciel guide for all 4 classes: Catastrophe, Innocent, Diangelion, and Demersio. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to help me grow this YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's get started. In my previous video, I already explained several of Luciel course mechanic including Creeping Terror, the combination system, the transformation system, and the combination gauge system. However, several things have changed since my previous guides. One example is the base buff Aura of Punishment. It previously provided 20% critical damage for 20 seconds, but its duration has now been increased to 60 seconds. Let's start with our first class on Luciel, Catastrophe. One of the biggest changes is related to the passive skill called Creeping Terror. Previously, players had to attack enemies from behind to receive its full effect. That positional requirement has now been removed, meaning players can receive the same buff even when attacking from the front. This is extremely beneficial for Catastrophe players, especially when fighting large bosses where attacking from behind is practically impossible. Next, the passive skill Force of Fear, which previously provided 15% physical critical damage, has now been increased to 23%. Another passive skill called Threat of Terror previously reduced cooldowns by 7 seconds with a cooldown of 7 seconds. It now reduces cooldowns by 10 seconds, while its own cooldown has been reduced to only 3 seconds. The special active skill Supreme Punishment previously increased the target's received physical damage by 15%. It now increases both received physical and magical damage by 12%. Oblivion previously increased received critical damage by 12%, but this has been now reduced to 8%. The passive skill Remnant of Fear previously granted 3 combination gauge points per hit from Summoned Darkness, but it now grants 5 points per hit. For Catastrophe's main damage skill, you can use Mud-E Soul Invest, World Ender, and Apollyon. Let's move on to the next class. We have Innocent. There are several changes, but the general gameplay remains mostly the same. Innocent's main damage skills are still Eschaton and Reign of Chaos. The changes to Innocent skills and passive are as follows. The skill Shadow previously applied a debuff that reduced the enemy's magical attack and magical defense by 31% for 10 seconds. It now reduces both physical and magical defense by 25% for 10 seconds. The passive skill Noblesse Oblige previously provided a 23% damage increase, but it has now been increased to 28%. Reign of Chaos now has an additional 40% ignore defense effect. Shadow Bolt previously increased received critical damage by 10%, but this has now been increased to 12%. The passive called Innocent Duet provided 15% movement speed and attack speed for the caster, while also providing 10% movement speed and action speed to the allies. However, this effect now only applies to the caster with a value of 15%. Next class, Diangelion. Diangelion has also received several significant changes, especially to the values and duration of its buffs and debuffs. For the first skill, Dark Plasma previously provided a 12% physical damage increase. It now applies a debuff that increases the enemy's received physical and magical damage by 12%. The additional 20% damage increase for 10 seconds from Mortal Fear has now been removed. Bloodlust, which previously strengthened the user's body for 20 seconds, now lasts for 60 seconds. Thorn of Hell previously reduced physical and magical defense by 33%, but the reduction has now been lowered to 20%. For Altar of Evil, the additional damage effect from Mortal Fear has been removed. Instead, the received magical damage increase effect has been moved to Dark Plasma. Brutal Rush previously reduced physical defense by 20% for 7 seconds. It now reduces both physical and magical defense by 20% for 15 seconds. The duration of Transcendence also has been increased from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And for Manic Demon Form Thirst, the attack power increase has been raised from 20% to 28%. For the duration of Manic Demon Form Destruction has been increased from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. The duration of Mud-E Soul Invest Exultation has been increased from 25 seconds to 60 seconds. Lastly, the passive skill Codex Gigas previously provided 50% cooldown reduction for all skills during Manic Demon form. This value has now been increased to 70%. Last class on Luciel, we have Demersio. Like the other classes, Demersio has also received several changes, particularly to its support skills and passive effect. MP Scatter previously provided 15% damage reduction along with an additional 1% damage reduction per combination couch for 8 seconds. It now provides 20% damage reduction, 1% all skill MP cost reduction, and an additional 0.5% per combination couch up to 5% with a duration of 60 seconds. This is an incredible improvement for this skill. Next, we have Heartless ID. Previously provided a 20% strength and bravery skill damage increase for 15 seconds, it now provides 12% all skill damage, 15% action speed, 15% movement speed. The passive skill attack mechanism now also provides an additional 10% skill damage. For Blanket Authority, which is Demersio's healing skill, the new effects are HP and MP recovery per 20 seconds for every 100,000 combat power, HP recovery per 0.5 seconds increases by 0.075%, and also maximum HP increases 5% with an additional 0.5% maximum HP per combination couch used. For Armor Pose, the effects are now all skill cooldown acceleration 1.2 times, and also physical and magical attack power increases 12% for 60 seconds. Infernal Hands previously reduced physical and magical defense by 20% for 10 seconds, it now reduces both physical and magical defense by 15 seconds for 60 seconds. Lastly, the passive skill representation previously granted 1 combination couch point upon hitting an enemy, it now grants 2 combination couch points. Alright, I think that's all my explanation on the updated Luciel guide. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, turn on notifications so you won't miss any Elsword content and to help me grow this YouTube channel. I'm Askafia, signing off. Goodbye!